With Rachel Vigil, taking a daily look at the biggest stories in Denver sports and interacting live with you, the Coffee Break fam. So sit back, relax, grab a cup of joe, and enjoy your coffee break. Here's your host, Rachel Vigil.
I swear within the last hour, Twitter has absolutely gone bonkers with Brandon Aiyuk. We'll get into that because I feel like there's relation to the Denver Broncos, but also Ingrid Andress and the home run derby. There's tons to talk about today, but also the biggest question going into Broncos training camp is, and I feel like there's a few, so I'm excited to dive into those. If you guys have any comments, we are literally 1 week away from the Broncos media barbecue. If they're doing it this year, I guess I haven't heard confirmation. If you didn't know, before training camp gets started, they have all the media members. Hello, yes, us out for a barbecue. It's actually one of my favorite times of the year because we all get to go hang out, have fun for a little bit, sit and chit chat with the media. You know, George Payton, Sean Payton, a lot of those guys will come in and say hello to us and chit chat, and they give us really good food. Last year we had delicious barbecue, some really, really good barbecue. So there's always plenty of stuff. So yes, we are just days away from that happening, and then the craziness of training camp will be here. But I figured we talk a little bit about the biggest storylines going into it because I feel like Sean Payton's kind of given us a little bit of a hint when it came to how long it's going to be before we know the starting quarterback for the Denver Broncos. But does that mean that all three quarterbacks will be in the competition battle for the entire time of training camp? I want to say no, because I feel like right now it's only two. We've talked about this a ton. If I get annoying, just tell me, please. But how in the heck can the Broncos afford Aiyuk? We will get to it. I promise. But first, I want to just hit on and touch on the point that literally it's already a 2-quarterback battle, but Sean Payton is a prideful man. He is very prideful, but there is a huge possibility that it could literally be a 3-quarterback battle all the way up until the week before the game against Seattle. And Sean Payton has already hinted at in a press conference during minicamp, I believe it was, talking about how we may not know who the quarterback of the Denver Broncos is going to be week 1 until 1 week out. And I think that's going to stay true. I think they really want to see what they have. Here's my only thing, Broncos country, so bear with me just a little bit on this. The Broncos know the future. So that's all you have to know. That's all you have to worry about. Yes, we're all like, who is it going to be week 1? The future is Bo Nix. Can he be the guy? And I think we're going to see him get tested no matter what this season at some point, whether that's week 1 or it's week 5 or it's week 11. We're going to see Bo Nix, and that's really all you should care about is Bo Nix and how he's improving. Jared Stidham's not going to be the future Hall of Famer for the Denver Broncos. It's just not going to happen. That's not why you would go draft Bo Nix, where you moved up to and all this jazz. Didn't move up to. Stayed at number 12. I'm thinking Nuggets over here for a quick second because there's a lot going on there as well. But regardless, just worry about Bo Nix. Ask how Bo Nix is doing. That's all you need to really care about, even though there are 3 or 2 other quarterbacks on this thing. Okay. How the heck can the Broncos afford Aiyuk, or however you spell it? Well, first of all, they can't. They can't get him. I don't know how they would do it. If you did not see the news, yes, Brandon Aiyuk has requested a trade after an offseason of unsuccessful attempts to reach an extension. During a recent meeting, the Niners haven't been willing to engage in negotiations since May, so Aiyuk has respectfully asked to be out. We all remember the TikTok video also where he's on the phone on FaceTime and he said, dude, they don't want me. Yeah, we all remember that. That's why they haven't talked to him since May, is because they don't. But the question is, why don't the 49ers want Aiyuk? That's my big question. He's been a stud. I mean, we can look at some of his stats. Last year, 16 games played, 75 receptions, 1,300 yards, 17.9 average, 7 touchdowns, 1 fumble. Why wouldn't they want him? He's played for the 49ers since 2020, 2022, and 2023 were both 1,000-yard seasons. So what is it about Aiyuk that's not, helping him out and that makes them not want to stay there? Is he too much drama? Is he not getting along with people? Do they think that they have enough weapons out there? I don't know. George Kittle's fantastic. Christian McCaffrey's fantastic, obviously. But wide receivers, maybe I'm just blanking on this, but 49ers wide receivers. Let's Google real quick. Because, I don't think I can think of too many. Oh, Debo, obviously. Don't mind my, brain dump right there. Juwan Jennings. Otherwise, I don't know. Ronnie Bell. Jacob Cowing. Danny Gray. Like, there's a bunch of names that I feel like nobody really knows. So why they want to get rid of Brandon Aiyuk, I don't know. But everybody, again, is opening up the question of like, hey, what can the Broncos do to get Aiyuk? And the honest to truth is probably nothing. You can't afford him. Okay. You're screwed because of the Russell Wilson contract. I truthfully don't know how you can create enough cap space to be able to get him. And yeah, it would be a trade, and his contract's nothing like too crazy because that's why he obviously wants a contract extension. But I don't know, man. I just don't know why. First of all, if you're the Broncos, you don't want him. Plus, why the heck would he want to come here? Why would he want to come to Denver? Let's just be totally real on that front. I also saw something, I believe it was, let's see, Josina Anderson. She tweeted, I'm told within the last couple of weeks, the Patriots reached out to the 49ers about inquiring about wide receiver Brandon Aiyuk again, and were told the talented wide receiver was not being traded at the time, per source. I find that to be a little fascinating. Maybe, I mean, you can ask for a trade. That doesn't mean you're going to get traded. The front office over there for the 49ers could easily say, nope, we're not going to trade you. You're going to stick it out. We want to see what you're going to do. And then maybe a contract extension can be in play next year. I mean, that's not exactly a way to put morale in your locker room and have a lot of happy guys, but they could totally do that. And I don't know why you wouldn't at least just take offers from the Patriots if that even is even part of the case. So interesting that the Patriots have reached out. I wonder if any other teams have reached out. Let's just go on Brandon Aiyuk Twitter and see what the people are talking about. Lots of people want the Broncos to do it. And I think James Marilat and I had this conversation a couple weeks back now. And it was, would you trade Courtland Sutton and 2 second-round picks for Brandon Aiyuk? What do you think? Would you do it? I'm curious. Let me know in the comments. I wouldn't do it. You need the draft picks. They've traded away so many draft picks personally, so I wouldn't do it, but I could totally see others. And I don't think the Broncos are just going to roll with Courtland Sutton, and he will be on the team this year. Obviously, he wants a contract extension and all this kind of jazz. He will be on the contract or on the team this year. So I think they are just going to see what he's able to do. I think that's what they're waiting to see. Can he be a 1,000-yard player this year? Can he do that type of stuff and then be able to go out there and, make some moves? And then I think that they'll think about a contract extension. So everybody who's like, oh, trade Brandon Aiyuk for Courtland Sutton. Courtland Sutton is nowhere near that. And again, we just go back to these stats. 1,300 yards. That's pretty much almost doubling what Courtland Sutton did. So there's no trade value right there for the 49ers at all. So everybody who's throwing that out there, I just don't think it's going to happen. I'm trying to see. I feel like our group text is blowing up today. I'm going to be on 104 through the fan for the drive today, myself and John Davis. So we're going to be hanging out. I'm sure we're going to talk a ton about Brandon Aiyuk. But again, there's just no way that the Broncos can afford him. There's no trade that makes sense for the 49ers to acquire him. None of it makes sense unless that for some reason they look at Courtland Sutton and think, oh, he's going to be a stud. So yeah, I just don't see that happening at all. Yeah, Broncos can't afford him. Let's go to some of these comments. Broncos can't afford him. Correct. They can't. It's all about the money. Correct. But again, I just feel like pay Brandon Aiyuk. You're already a Super Bowl contender. Why won't they just pay him? He has to have something going on the side. I don't know. I think it's really, really weird. Oh, see, Broncos don't go away the future for a prima donna player. I don't know. Brandon Aiyuk would make sense for the Broncos if it was the Broncos were a playoff team and were in Super Bowl contention. It would make sense if you need just that one piece and you have the wide receiver and you're like, okay, full send on this. They're not. And that's why I don't think Brandon Aiyuk would even want to come here. He wants Bo Nix to throw the ball or Jared Stidham to throw the ball to him. No, he doesn't. Let's be real. He wants to go out there and win a ring. And that's not going to happen here with the Broncos this year. Yesterday, we got asked, though, I don't remember who it was, because I'm seeing a lot of familiar names popping up in the comments, but they asked Lucas Kroll or Greg Dulcich, and I feel like that's another area which is the biggest question mark going into Broncos training camp. I think Broncos country wants to fall in love with Greg Dulcich, but he's kind of like that guy who's constantly just lingering around, but will never actually be there for you. If I am the Broncos front office, I'm looking at Greg Dulcich like, you can never stay healthy. Why is that? Are you not prepping your body well enough? Is your body just failing you at this time? I'm sure they're paying attention to all of these things. How many times have we heard Greg Dulcich being moved to the injured reserve? A ton. So everybody who's like getting their hopes up about Greg Dulcich this year, it's going to be Lucas Kroll. He looks so good. He's a stud out there. He's massive too, which is going to be great. He really does remind me of a Travis Kelce-like guy. Like, I think he could have that kind of impact. And we've seen the connection already a little bit between Jarrett Stidham and Bo Nix. Zach Wilson, I guess I haven't seen too much of because we didn't see as much of that in training camp and OTAs. But Lucas Kroll looks really, really good. I was a little disappointed that he wasn't at Camp Stidham because I was hoping he would be like in connection. But I do know that he went down to the tight end university, which was held by George Kittle, Travis Kelce, and I believe somebody else who's blanking my mind right now. And like all the tight ends essentially get together and they all chat and get ready for things. So I think Lucas Kroll is going to be tight end number 1 this year. Greg Dulcich, I don't think will. He may not even make this team. That might be a bit of a bold statement. It really could be, but we'll see if he stays healthy. If he could somehow stay healthy through camp and like actually look good, but all we've seen him do is run hills. Like that's what he did at OTAs and May camp. We haven't seen really anything out of Greg Dulcich. I just don't think there's a whole lot of trust. I think they really want it because they can see like the upside, but otherwise George Payton's just absolutely biffed it on that one. Let's see. Oh, interesting. Obviously, I would go after wide receiver Justin Jefferson over wide receiver Brandon Aiyuk if he was eligible. Yeah, I don't think either. And again, which one of these players would want to come to Denver? Let's just be real. Like we got to be real. We have to have these conversations. Yes, if they had a whole lot of money and they could pay the crap out of all of these players, but they don't. That's why they had to cut Justin Simmons, is because they don't have any money to spend. I'm going to be fascinated to see where Justin Simmons ends up. I feel so bad for him. I'm glad that he's trying to find the positives and hang out with his family and doing all the charity stuff. But I feel so bad for Justin Simmons, the fact that he hasn't found a home. Do I think he will? Yes. I think by mid-season, he'll for sure have a home. And I know he's staying in shape and making sure he's ready to go week 1 if somebody were to call him. And people always get hurt in training camp. We see it every single year. So it wouldn't surprise me if Justin Simmons lines up on some team or ends up on some team there. But that's why the Broncos had to cut him. It's not because he wasn't a good player. It's not because they didn't want him on the team. It's because they literally had to find cap space to be able to do it because of the Russell Wilson deal. Also, did anybody else see the pictures that he posted today? Let me just pull some up for you. He's back on his old shenanigans. I remember these pictures very, very well. It says black and gold. There's for us, everybody. Black and gold. I remember when it was orange and blue, just like it was yesterday. Yeah. You guys care? Be honest. Let me know in the comments. Do you actually even care about Russell Wilson anymore? Which game do we think Sean Payton cares more about? The game against New Orleans or the game against Russell Wilson? I think that's going to be a fascinating question. We're going to talk about that on the drive today, actually, because I think that can be a really interesting conversation to be had. Does he care more about getting a win in New Orleans where he returns and he's known as the GOAT and like the greatest person ever? Or I kind of wonder if there are some hard fans that are a little annoyed that he, left them. He put them in cap hell and then just left them and went to Fox. I wonder which one he cares a little bit more about. I would assume Russell Wilson because it's a little more fresh, but who knows? Okay, some of your comments. Let's go. Just a little chit-chatting today. Nothing too crazy. Quarterback Bo Nix has his teammate wide receiver Troy Franklin with him here with the Broncos. Wilson is old news. Worst trade in Broncos history. That's the truth. Might be the worst trade in NFL history now at this point. Just because, well, maybe not the worst trade because nobody knew what was actually going to happen with Russell Wilson. But it was the worst contract extension considering he had never taken it down. They got bamboozled the heck out of it. Russell Wilson's agent did a great job on that front, but I don't know. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens with Russell Wilson if he ends up making. I'm really interested to see. I'm trying to see what else people are talking about today. I feel like we're all excited for training camp, and let me know if you kind of feel the same, but we're all just like, okay, it needs to be here. Like, there's only so many conversations that we can have. And yeah, the biggest storylines, they really do How long is the quarterback competition going to go where it's 33, 33, and 33? When is it going to go down to 50-50? And when's it going to go down to 100%? Because it really does hurt the Broncos the longer you have the quarterback competition. It's not good for all of your other number ones trying to build chemistry with some guy who's going to be passing them the ball when they're rotating constantly. So that's not good for anybody personally, at least I believe so. And then Javonte Williams is the other one. We did a really good show yesterday about Javonte Williams and how this is his year. This will be his time. And if he would like to continue playing in the NFL, he's going to have to put up really big numbers. He's going to have to get back to his pre-injured self, even though it's impossible. He's going to have to get somewhat near like that again. It was a really good show yesterday. I loved all of your guys' comments. I know so many people care deeply about Javonte Williams and they really want him to succeed. So it was a good show. Great comments. So thank you guys for that. And then the other ones is just about Lucas Kroll or Greg Dulcich. And I think it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. I don't think we're going to see a lot of Greg Dulcich. He's just been so injury prone that I've kind of given up on him. And Lucas Kroll looks like a stud. And of course, all of the competitions all over the place. You got the secondary. You got who's going to be on the opposite side of Pat Surtain. What's that going to look like? I mean, training camp is literally going to be here before we know it. But there's just a lot of question marks that I feel like we just have to get the answers to. Like, we can all speculate this entire time, but it's just officially time that we actually see with our own eyes. If you are going out or going to one of the training camp practices, let me know in the comments because I would love to hear which day you're going. Make sure you bring sunscreen. It's a thunderstorm again outside my window. Yesterday, I was so excited that we had a thunderstorm and I can hear it again. It's raining, which is really, really cool. I love thunderstorms. So maybe I just need to do shows from home all the time. Again, it could be like a COVID year all over again. Because I just love the thunderstorm. So it like makes me so happy that it's here. Make or break year for Williams. Indeed, it is. This is it. If he can't get back to himself, it's probably going to be done. He knows he's looking for a contract extension. He knows this is the make or break year. So yeah, he hasn't looked the same since OTAs and minicamp. He just doesn't look like he's that good. Like, there's not a lot of trust in that knee, but this is the year. And I think he mentally knows that. So he'll go out and hopefully have a really good training camp and things will look good. But you guys, that's going to do it because I have to get prepared to talk for 4 hours on the drive this afternoon. Let us know. Shoot me any DMs or like tag me on Twitter. If there's any conversations you want us to have, Brandon Aiyuk, I guarantee we're going to be talking about. Ingrid Andress. Oh my gosh. I wish I could show the graphic that she posted. Hold on. I wish I could show it, but I cannot because she curses in it. She came out and said that she was drunk last night during the Home Run Derby national anthem. I was like floored by that. I could not believe it. Like absolutely insane. And she said that she's checking herself into rehab and she goes, I hear it's super fun. So wow, like just a little crazy that she came out and said that. I mean, everybody said she had to be on something because it was that bad. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. But good for her to like coming up and just announcing that and checking herself into a facility. That has to be really, really hard to do. And I'm sending good vibes her way because I'm sure her mental health is really struggling right now after all of the comments that were posted on social media. So just a little crazy. I feel like the last hour, a lot of stuff just kind of came around and not too many things Bronco, Nuggets, or Avs related, but still just a lot that people are talking about. But that's going to do it, you guys. Come listen, 104.3 The Fan, 2 to 6. I will be on, myself, John Davis. It'll be good conversations. And I love you guys all so very much. And we will see you guys then. Bye, everybody.